Amanda and Steve Wood are 2 months into a 3-month project to restore some grandeur to the living room of their impressive 6-bedroom suburban home on the outskirts of Birmingham. We've discovered that although the house may be technically Victorian, it seems to be ahead of its time in terms of design.
Looking at the kind of materials they're using and the way they're using them, I think they're part of this new arts and crafts movement.
It's an exciting revelation, but it does mean that Steve and Amanda have a challenge on their hands when it comes to deciding which period look to focus on in their living room. Now it's time for them to make some decisions, and there's one feature that will help me learn just where Amanda and Steve's tastes lie.
The fireplace is the centre of any room in that style of house, so finding out which type of fireplace they like will probably tell us what kind of style they like. How you doing?
Hello.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
I brought them to meet Jeff Dennis, who has one of the largest selections of vintage restored fireplaces.
Tiled inserts generally came in about 1875.
He hasn't just dressed in period clothing for us. Jeff truly lives and breathes history, and what he doesn't know about fireplaces isn't worth knowing.
Well, I'll take you to a classic Victorian fireplace here. I mean, that's a nice marble with what we call a quarter column drop.
They love their marble, the Victorians, don't
Oh,
they?
yes.
I tend to think them as a bit gravestone-y, but they really liked them, didn't they?
Well, again, in the Victorian era, the country was prosperous. People wanted to show their wealth. You know, to them, a nice big fireplace was their way of expressing their prosperity.
All right, so if that's early Victorian, what would you say is the next stage?
Well, if we move it through the Victorian era to sort of mid to late Victorian, then this would be a good example. Look at the detail of the casting. By this time, in the mid-Victorian era, I mean, they could cast anything. Brunel was building ships. You know, they could do anything in cast iron. And so the quality, you just look at that. Go and touch it. You need to touch it. Look at that.
Yeah, it is.
To appreciate it.
From the late Victorian on to the Edwardian and the world of arts and crafts and Art Nouveau, a style which could fit very well in Steve and Amanda's house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's lovely Art Nouveau, flowing organic lines on the hood there. Now, what you've also got on here, which is very, very unusual. I say unusual because I've been in the business over 30 years and I haven't had more than 5 or 6 of these concave tiles.
Yeah, they're incredible, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
They truly are, and the design and the colours are just so beautiful and so modern.
Art Nouveau had a massive influence on 20th century art and design with its characteristic dynamic flowing lines. It was a visual revolt against brutal industrialism and the sharp angular lines of the Victorian period. It added character to fireplaces, and it's seeing a revival in the 21st century.
I can see you're really, really loving this, aren't you?
Yeah, we've actually always really liked that kind of Art Nouveau into Art Deco styling in terms of colour schemes, and I don't think that we ever thought that we could have something like that in this house, that it would be completely out of keeping. So it's actually really exciting to think we could go for that style and it wouldn't look out of place. Obviously we have to choose anyway regardless, but given that we want to have things that are in keeping with the styling of the house or the period of the house, that's very sad. Because now I'm not going to look at anything else.
I mean, this is for sale, and it is. This is 1,200 for this bit.
Yes.
And then this bit's how much?
2,200, that.
Is it the rest around 2,000?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
So that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Amanda is clearly very taken by this rare and expensive fireplace, but at a whopping £3,400, is it back to the drawing board for their drawing room original feature?
I think it's amazing to think that you chose a fireplace because of what it said about you and your home. But it's been fantastic to come and see the various styles and learn a little bit about the sort of social history going on around those. Food for thought, I think, isn't it?
Amanda has certainly lost her heart to the Art Nouveau fireplace, but it seems Steve needs to mull over the dilemma a little longer.
I think the issue for us was that it was rather expensive. I'm still not sold on the idea of an open fire. Whether we can do that and it looks all right gas-wise, or whether I just bite the bullet and get an open fire.